We can't wait for people. Others will just have to join us a bit later. Yes, good evening, guys. Thank you so much for joining us. My name is Pammy G, and I'm coming to you live on Pammy G Motivations page. You know, on the 1st of May, we had International Workers' Day, and this topic, today's topic is around, you know, an issue that affects workers greatly and very negatively. It's an issue that is so taboo because nobody wants to openly talk about it. I don't know whether it's fear, or we'll definitely find out what it is, what the reason is that people don't find it easy to open up about the subject. The subject of today is sexual harassment in the workplace. We were supposed to have two guests today. A lady from Namibia was supposed to join us. Unfortunately, I cannot get hold of her now, so I'm not sure what is going on. She might join us later, but I've got another guest who was supposed to be our second guest speaker today. Yes, and her name is Avile Sikithi, and she's going to be educating us a little bit today about sexual harassment. Avile, can you come on? Can you join us? Can you switch on your video?
Hi, hello, Pammy G.
How are you? How are you?
Thanks, yourself.
I'm fine, thank you. And you look so beautiful.
Thank you so much, man.
Thank you so much. I just want to, you know, take the time just to say I appreciate you know, your willingness to come and be part of this conversation. I mean, this conversation is not such an easy conversation. I mean, if I can share with you now, I try to approach a lot of people, and you know, all I can say right now is that people don't want nothing to do with this topic, and to me that was a clear indication that, you know, there is a huge problem around this topic. You know, people just want to keep it with themselves. They don't want to be outspoken about it. They don't want to be open about it. They don't want people to know that they are being sexually harassed. The lady who was supposed to be part of this conversation, I'm not sure what happened to her. She was going to also share her story. I guess people fear, Avile, that, you know, it may reflect badly on their work. How do you say? How can you put it? They may not get jobs because they've spoken openly about it, or it may just affect their livelihood. I don't know, but I found that it is such a difficult topic to talk about. So I'm hoping that, you know, you will help us today in educating us about this topic. Yeah, I mean, I know that most of us have experienced it. If I can be honest with you, I'm one of the people who have experienced it as well. And we don't address it. We shy away, or we just think in our minds that we can handle it. But a mental health issue that is attached to this issue is unbelievable, because you get so sick. You first get anxiety, you get sick, and eventually some people end up resigning, you know, because of this topic. So yeah, I'd love for you to just, you know, give it all to us today, and just share whatever experience you have and whatever knowledge you have regarding this topic. So thank you so much for joining us today.
All right, pleasure, Pammy.
Okay, so I've got a couple of questions. I just want to check quickly those that are watching, if they're, just to read and acknowledge them. That's all.
Okay.
Okay, so we've got Unonceba Sangocha. Okay, hi Nonceba, thank you for joining us. We've got Avile Sikithi. Okay, that's right. Obviously, somebody that you know. Hey. Okay. Okay, and then we've got Musa, we've got Nzuzo. Yeah, we've got a couple of ladies watching.
Okay.
So I've got a couple of questions to ask you that I think, you know, people will be interested in. First question, in your experience, what is sexual harassment? And the reason I'm asking is, I know people know what sexual harassment is, but the reason I'm asking is that sometimes, I'll make an example. A superior might do something that your senses will tell you, might do something or say something, and your senses will tell you that this is not right. But you won't be able to put a word to it. You won't be able to tell that this is sexual harassment because you don't fully know, or you're not fully informed about what sexual harassment is. So please tell us, can you tell us what forms of sexual harassment, what is sexual harassment?
Okay, thank you so much, Pemiti, once again. You know, having worked with this kind of cases and this kind of issues, it just takes me back, firstly, to acknowledge that currently companies are just starting to realize that the problem for sexual harassment is real. And most managers are admitting that the victims are starting to have courage to complain about such behaviors, even though that would find that some other employees are still silent about it because it's their bread. I mean, no one would like to risk their job by sharing those experiences. So it's quite a big deal that now people are coming and are talking about these things. However, we still have those silent employees who don't want to discuss them. So my definition of sexual harassment would be, it's an inappropriate and unwelcome behavior. This behavior would include sexual remarks. It includes physical advancements in the workplace. It can be done by your superior. It can also be done by the subordinates, like an employee the same level as you. But once it becomes uncomfortable for you, then you do understand then it's a sexual harassment. Now, the sexual harassment, you know, has got negative psychological effects on the employee, as you've mentioned, such as anxiety, depression, you know, low self-esteem, and low confidence. So once these sexual remarks are being said to you and they make you uncomfortable and they're unwelcoming, then already you know that you are being sexually harassed in the workplace.
Okay. You know what put me off a little bit is the fact that I couldn't get the other ladies. So I did not get to introduce you with your qualifications, because I want people to know who, you know, we are talking about today. So for Avile, I'm sorry guys, I missed this part and I greatly apologize. I missed telling you who she is and what is she speaking in the capacity of. Avile, she works for local government. I won't mention the institution itself, but she's a manager, employee health and wellness under corporate services department. Okay, and she holds an honors degree in psychology, a master's degree in developmental studies, and is registered member of EAPASA. Okay, I didn't know what that was, but she explained to me, and that's Assistant Professionals of South Africa. Yeah, that's who we're talking to today, and she's going to help us with this topic that we're talking about. I just want to see who else is watching. Mr. Pura Stofile Mfundisi, thank you for watching as well. We see you. Yes, we acknowledge you. Okay, so another thing, Avile, is that when I was being, I'm willing to openly talk about myself since now the lady is not here. When I was being sexually harassed, I didn't want attention to come to me. I was afraid because I didn't want to be that talk of, you know how sometimes when you talk about sexual harassment, people tend to say you, how do I put it? The way you dress, it's your fault. Yes, the way you dress, you know, you invited it. They'll, you know, they will say things, they will begin to speak things about you, or maybe say, bebe jola. No, it's a lie, bebe jola. And now probably things are not going well. And that's why she's speaking out about the issue. you know. So personally, I didn't want that kind of attention to come to me. I just wanted to leave quietly. I wanted just to get out of that institution. Okay, so I want to know, when a superior is pretending to be joking or is joking about sexual insinuating, having sexual insinuating comments, is that a form of sexual harassment? If this is happening on a daily basis, is that a sexual harassment?
Pemi, you see, when I said that, it's those sexual remarks actually indicate that that is sexual harassment, because one, they make you uncomfortable. They are inappropriate, you understand, because when you are in a work environment, you want to be addressed in a professional level. Then once the subordinate starts addressing you through sexual, language, I mean, you would get really offended, and it becomes a hint that something is wrong. Probably the most important part that you do is first to acknowledge to the superior that I do not appreciate the way that you address me, or I am not comfortable with this kind of conversation with you. Can it end here? Yes, you are speaking to your superior, but remember, you are the employee of the organization and you have all the right to be there. If something is not does not sit well with you, it's important to address it, because remember, it's got to do with your emotional state. It has to do with the work environment at large, and you are just trying to eliminate anything that could cause harm for your job and your emotions.
I hear you. Okay. Another question, guys. So just hold on, Avile. And if you guys have questions, you are welcome to ask, and Avile will gladly answer those questions. Yeah, because I don't have many questions to ask her. Okay, just hold on, Avile. I've got some comments on Facebook. I just want to read what they say quickly before I ask you the other questions.
Okay. All right.
Okay, so Musa says, my experience was non-verbal. The colleague was undressing me for quite some time. And at first I thought it was me imagining things. Or maybe I was not dressing properly. The sad part is I was shy to address it until I left the organization. Otherwise, it was uncomfortable. The colleague was junior. So that would you say when a person just looks at you and with those piercing eyes and stares at you like that, would you term that as sexual harassment?
Yes, yes, I term that as sexual harassment, as long as it portrays and makes you feel uncomfortable. It makes you feel it's inappropriate. Therefore, it is sexual harassment.
Okay. And a certain lady requested a transfer because she was being sexually harassed by her superior, right? Now, the superior, after she made that request, the superior started questioning her her performance at work. How can she handle such a situation?
You know what? The superior starts starts questioning the performance because of this particular incident that happened. One, I'd advise the employee to talk to their union members. Some organizations have trade unions available as the labor component. So that particular employee should get in contact with the unions and try to get advice and they will actually advise which procedure is going to be taken. Failing which, there's no union, we've got an employee assistant professional program that one could visit to actually assist the employee with dealing with such. And then they will be able to escalate the matter to the labor relations unit inside the organization. Still, failing which, if you don't have those also in your organization, you can visit the CCMA where you can file for unfair discrimination in the workplace, because this is the kind of behavior they deal with. Because if someone would start questioning your performance because of something that happened, is there an unfair discrimination towards you? Because all this time you were performing and suddenly you are not performing because this happened. So engaging the unions in the workplace, engaging the EAP office, engaging the labor relations unit, engaging CCMA. If the person has got a private lawyer, I mean, you are free to talk to them and advise on which procedure to take. Because now, the reason why now the super superior is trying to open a case, it's because he's scared that you'll be saying something after what happened. So you also need to protect yourself as the employee and address this issue in the relevant platforms. Yes, permitted. Yes.
Wow. Okay. Thank you so much. I hear you. I'm just going to read what Uafika says as well. Uafika says the fact that your own colleague being in the same level as you can sexually harass you and sometimes is not attended to on a serious level, which can be very frustrating as it is mostly expected to be your superior. That is true. That is true. I didn't even know that, you know, the colleague, somebody in the same level as you can actually sexually harass you. I didn't even know that was happening. Wow. Okay. And then Mr. Stofile says, I think power dynamics are the fertile grounds for these unbecoming acts. People don't speak about it because they are scared of losing their jobs. Yes, that is true. That is true. People don't speak about it because they're scared of losing their jobs. Yeah, and some, they actually just resort to quitting. They resort to resigning. That's what they do. It becomes the easy way out. Yeah. Okay. I will ask another question just now, Avile. Okay. I just want to see if there are any more comments. Okay. I have a comment from Umusa. Musa says, do you think the issue is receiving enough attention in SA, particularly apart from having the ER officers? My experience is in most cases, the victims don't get support, let alone that in some cases, the victims become more vulnerable and labeled at times. Exactly, it's what I was saying about being scared of being labeled. Yes, yeah. So do you think it's being, it's being attended to, Avile?
You know, there are cases that you'd see that they are just swept under the carpet because they're trying to protect a certain identity, you know, in terms of the power or the authority one holds. But, you know, if organizations would start having clear guidelines and clear disciplinary procedures where employees would know exactly where to go and what to do when they experience this, because things like policy, you know, they would really guide you and protect you in the workplace. As much as we know that labor relations unit takes forever in dealing with cases, but actually getting to the depth of those cases will assist in terms of assisting those who are really harassed. And one thing that I'd like to highlight, there is this thing that superiors do when you charge them of the sexual harassment. They would say that, no, she wants me. No, yes, she wanted a promotion. No, she wanted this, you know, and they try to shift the blame. And really with women, you know, it will be so difficult for you to deal with that, because now there'll also be stigma associated that this is the woman who goes around looking for a promotion through this. So what I would really emphasize on is the fact that people should talk about these things, get to the relevant people to assist you, not just sharing it to anyone. People like the employee relations unit, the unions, the labor unions do an amazing job dealing with such issues, having a strong support system inside the organization and outside the organization, because what's important is whatever is happening, you should be able to come back to work and face the world. The reality is, when this is all happening, psychologically already you are disturbed, but we need to equip you. How do you then come back to work and perform your duties? Yeah.
Avile, do you think that there is enough information sharing from institutions about this? Because I feel like those emails from, what do you call that thing where it's all staff, the emails that are sent to all staff to update the staff about what is happening in the institution. Do you think there is enough information sharing regarding this topic?
This is a topic that you don't normally hear being spoken about. Let me be honest with you, even on our employee wellness programs, these are the conversations that we don't normally have, right? And it's those that affect our employees so bad. And I feel that information sharing is not done enough towards this. And it's the responsibility of the managers, the directors, and also, our colleagues to ensure that conversations like this start happening, and, information goes around and it reaches to the lowest level employee in the organization.
I hear you. I've just to add on this question. Do you think there will ever be progress in terms of managers or directors or the top management sharing this information, because they, in most cases, are the perpetrators of this? Do you think there'll ever be any kind of improvement on their side? What would you advise? Because this is urgent. This is an urgent matter. It needs to be addressed. It needs people to open up about it, because most employees are sick. They are seeing psychologists because they have to face this every day. Some of the employees don't even want to go to work because of the situation. And the perpetrators are in top management.
Well, as you say, that they are that level is the one that is supposed to ensure that such issues are being communicated on the ground. And the more conversations we have, I think the better. In some institutions, as I'm saying, like at the employee health wellness section, it's their responsibility to talk about this in their meetings, in their wellness programs, in posters, just sharing that, speak out, it's important for you to voice out so that we are able to address the issues. So if we'd have an integration of those sectors, then I think we'll be able to get the message cut across. Because the honest truth is they are the perpetrators, and we have to come in and ensure that this behavior stops. And if it doesn't stop, justice should be made for those who are victims, and all those who are victims get the psychological assistance that they need to ensure that they become better.
Yeah. I hear you. Thank you so much. I'm just gonna read again what the people that are watching are saying. Okay, we've got Sake. Thank you, Sake, for watching. Sake and Babalwe, we see you. Okay, and then Musa has another question, I think. Musa says the other issue is even male colleagues do experience harassment, and I think it's very difficult for them to report it. I've had cases where a male colleague was harassed, Some end up raped by females. What? By female bosses. Have you ever, Avile, have you ever come across something like that?
You know, in our institution, no, we've not come across something like that. I think it's because men don't want to speak up, and you'd never find a man talking about their problems because it would be associated with his, you know, pride and everything. So we've not had a case like that, but I do know that it happens. Women actually, you know, harass men. And men really do feel powerless in those cases because now it's like the other way around and they don't know how to address the issue.
Oh my goodness. Wow. Wow. Okay. What Africa says, to think about the workplace, forget, or rather don't focus on doing wellness programs of sexual harassment in the workplace. To be honest, I have never heard any program on sexual harassment in my workplace for the past 10 years. Hey, not even step-by-step guidelines to follow should you experience that. I fully agree with you, Africa. Because, you know, when you deal with this for the first time, you don't know what to do because you are not well informed. And because it's not in your face, it's not something, it's not a subject or you know, something that's in your face. You don't even know sometimes if somebody is sexually harassing you by what they say. You know, your senses tell you that something is wrong here, but you can't even put a finger to it to say, I'm being sexually harassed. That's how bad it is that in the institutions that's how bad it is that we don't get enough information about it. It's not spoken about. Nobody dares to speak about it, from top management to middle management. You know, yeah, she's right. She's right. I fully agree. When it happened to me, Avile, I didn't know what to do. Because I had no information in front of me that would say these are the steps to follow if I'm being sexually harassed. So yeah, a lot needs to be done on this issue.
Yes, a lot. That's true.
Yeah. Okay. So okay, I've got a question from Unzuzo. Unzuzo says, what happened when the superior tells the victim that there's no evidence enough to take action? When an act of sexual harassment has been repeatedly committed? What happens when a superior tells the victim there isn't enough evidence?
You know what? That's always the issue when you speak of evidence, right? But I do want to believe that there is some sort of evidence that one would find. For example, let's say in the office, really, you know, the person tries to do something to you and there are no cameras and everything. But what's important, still report the incident to the labor relations unit, report, and it's their responsibility to conduct the investigation because they will find a way to do the investigation. Don't sit and be convinced that there's no enough evidence. Just report it to the labor relations unit. They do their investigation. They always find a way to conduct their investigations and come up with the truth.
Okay, you know, this is now reminding me of a question I had for you, which is related to what you've just said now. You have a director, for an example, from engineering service, I'll just say. And he happens to be the perpetrator, okay? And he harasses the subordinate. And he is friends with the HR director. They're tight, you know? And you report the issue to HR, and the issue gets handled by a junior staff who happens to report to this friend, to this HR director, who happens to be a friend of the perpetrator. And you, in a case like that, the case goes nowhere. It's not given enough attention. to a point that the victim ends up resigning because they see that this is going nowhere. What should they do in a situation like that?
In a situation like that, above the director, there's probably a CEO. That is when the employee needs to escalate the matter to the highest level person in the organization. And also it is a time where the employee can go to CCMA to file such, because if there's nothing being done in the organization, then it's then that you take it out outside the organization and consult with CCMA.
Okay, say I consult CCMA or SALGA for that matter.
Okay.
Yes. But I still want to grow in this institution, right? And now I've created enemies by simply talking about this. I'm an enemy to the friend who is the HR director. Most decisions, most employment, everything regarding employment goes through to him, is approved by him. Okay, and they're basically, I've made enemies with the top management because these people sit together and drink tea and have meetings. They close knit. What is going to protect me if I come out? And if I now report this to somebody that is senior to them, what's going to protect me to have peace in this institution? Because now I've created enemies of authorities, people that will approve everything that involves me in this institution is going to be approved by these people. So what is going to protect me now?
What's going to protect you is obviously when you report to the superior, it means that you are trying to address a certain issue, right? And once you take it outside, obviously there is acts that are governed there and truly explain to you your rights as an individual. So when if you're saying you're going to keep this in yourself because you are afraid of what will happen, it means that more cases are going to come and they're not going to be addressed. And now you are setting a precedent for those who are actually affected, and that they should not speak about such because they are afraid. But the truth is, addressing it and talking about it, at the end of the day, you don't know what's going to happen to the person who is the perpetrator, actually, after they've been found guilty. Maybe they'll be sent away and you have an opportunity to grow. So you can't be thinking about the unknown while there's an issue to be addressed, and also trying to ensure those who are inside that justice is always, always happens. And by doing that, you are trying to show those who are experiencing the same problem that voice out, speak up, and you never know what the outcomes will be.
Wow. Okay. Wow. I hear you. Okay, let me just read here what the people that are watching are saying. Okay, Musa was saying, or sometimes this is related to what I was saying, or sometimes, Cam, the perpetrator is the HR director himself. And then she says, hi, Shem, this is a complex matter. That's true, Musa. And then Musa says, if you choose to consult CCMA because one is scared internally, will they not say one must first exhaust all internal processes?
No, yes, you first exhaust internal processes. As you were saying that the director is friends with the other director and you feel that nothing is being done. That means you have exhausted all internal processes and now you are calling out for help from an external person. Do you understand? So yes, you first need to exhaust internal processes, then you are able to go out.
Okay. I hear you. I just want to check if there's more questions from the people that are watching. Okay, no, I don't see any more questions. Questions or comments, guys, are welcome. From my side, I don't really have any other question. Do you have perhaps anything that you would like to add on what you've said? I don't have any other questions on my side. I've said all the questions I had for you.
Okay. No, I think in closing, Pam, I want to advise people, you know, to speak up about this kind of conversations, to speak about the issues that affect them. Because remember, if you are experiencing this kind of issues in the workplace where you spend most of your time, you become less productive, your morale is low, your self-esteem is low, your confidence is low, and you're not getting any assistance, and all that leads to depression, it leads to anxiety, it comes back and affects your family. And now you are, you know, you feel helpless and hopeless. But if you speak about it and you get all the necessary support that you need through the labor, you know, component, through the employee health and wellness, unit, and then you can become a better person and look forward to coming to work, regardless of what exactly is happening in the workplace. So I want to motivate people, you know, so that we are aware of the problem, so that we are able to handle it well in the workplace. Because once we are aware, we are able to have coping strategies. We are able to handle it well, and would not would if you wouldn't have such in mind. So that's my advice to people, and when I encourage them to speak about it and get the necessary support that they need. Thank you, Bambi.
Thank you so much. I've got another, let's see. Okay. No. It's okay. I think I've already asked this question. Okay. Avile, I think we must just end right here. We are actually quite early because now it's 5:43. Yeah, we're supposed to end at 6, but I'm glad that we had this conversation. I'm hoping that everybody who was watching learned something from it, and I'm hoping, that more people will talk about it so that it becomes. In the beginning, I'll just make an example. In the beginning, HIV was also like a no-go area. People didn't want to talk about it. There's still a stigma, but I mean, it's better now. People speak more openly about it. And I'm hoping, that with sexual harassment, the same thing can happen. Because, it is an issue that is eating up at employees. It is an issue that it's most employees that are being sexually harassed. I'm telling you now, they always think they can handle it. I was the one person who was thinking, no, I can handle this. I know how to fight off a man. Psychological effects or the negative, I don't know how to put it, but the way it affects you negatively is it's just out of this world. So I'm so grateful that you came and addressed this issue. Thank you so much. And I'm hoping a lot of people will do this. Thank you a million times. Thank you so much for having me. Okay. There is something that Musa wrote. Hold on, Avile, before you go. There's something that Musa wrote. Okay. No. She was just commenting. She was saying, thanks, Pam, and your beautiful guest, Avile. The session was not only informative, but also empowerment. Speak up and save the rest of the society. Thank you so much, Musa. Thank you so much. Avile, we appreciate you. Thank you so much for coming and speaking about this topic. We appreciate you. Thank you a lot. Thank you. You have a good evening. You too. Bye. Okay. Guys, thank you for watching. The session is over. I appreciate you guys for being here and sharing your comments and the questions that you've had. I'm hoping that somebody who's going through this can get all the necessary help that they need. God bless you guys. Good evening.